OCHATO. This is a book club where we drink tea and talk about manga that we love. Hello, we are Suellen, Jade, and Oliver. I'm Suellen.
Hi, I'm Jade.
Hi, I'm Oliver.
Yes.
What tea have you guys got today?
I've been really lame because it's the evening and I've got work tomorrow, so it's decaf English breakfast. How about you?
Oh, great. I should have had decaf, but I don't think tea affects me as much as coffee. So I think I should be safe.
You have an immunity.
Hopefully.
Mine is just called cleanse. I'm being cleansed by my tea.
Is that the pucker one?
It is indeed.
Good
A
choice.
radiant blend of fennel, nettle, and peppermint.
That sounds good. So, which manga are we talking about today?
Witch Hat Atelier. I recommended it because I loved it so much. I'm forcing my two other friends to read it and talk about it. In a world where everyone takes wonders like magic spells and dragons for granted, Coco is a girl with a simple dream. She wants to be a witch, but everybody knows magicians are born, not made. And Coco is not born with a gift for magic. Resigned to her unmagical life, Coco is about to give up on her dream to become a witch, until the day she meets Frifri, a mysterious traveling magician. After secretly seeing Frifri perform magic in a way she's never seen before, Coco soon learns what everybody knows might not be the truth, and discovers that her magical dream may not be as far away as it may seem. Damn.
Beautiful.
What were people's first impressions of this manga?
I actually found it quite difficult to get into at first because I kept getting distracted by how good the art was. It didn't quite hook me in the beginning, but then I just continued reading, and then the story just started to click, and along with the art as well, it was, I really enjoyed the development of the characters. Yeah, and I think the style is really unique as well.
Yeah. What didn't hook you from the beginning?
I guess I didn't really get invested enough in Coco in a way. But then as I just continued reading, I was like, yes, Coco, you can draw. How about you, Oliver?
I was sold from chapter 1,
Same.
to be honest with you. That start was so strong. Of everything I've read, that was, I think, the strongest chapter 1. Mostly because they set up there's an interesting world right at the start with an interesting kind of magic system. The characters are pretty cool. They're all quite different, and nobody's super out there. But also there's that strong emotional, I guess, punch at the start. Spoilers for chapter 1, by the way. That bit kind of where with her mum, where she gets crystallized, is quite a nice kind of jolt from it being kind of comfy, hey, let's learn about magic, to it's just got serious.
Yeah.
And it then proceeds to give our main character, Coco, a really good reason to learn magic, and a really good drive. Yeah, I really liked the intro. I thought it was very strong. And then after that, I thought that the way that they kind of pivoted from being about Coco to more about the world was really good. What did you guys think of the side characters?
I really like Frifri. I mean, all of the... Is that how you pronounce his name? That's just how it sounds in my head when I read it.
I've been saying that. Yeah, Quifri. Okay.
From all the characters, they have really cute design and very distinctive as well. Yeah, I just really like his glasses, man. What's with I love the fashion in this world. It's so nice. It's one. I think I didn't notice it until the second read through, when I was like, oh wait, he has one of the lenses darkened, right? The other one is see through, right? It kind of reminds me of a pirate.
You're getting flashbacks to One Piece now.
Yeah, a little bit. Because I wonder what that's about. What's up with that?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's same as a pirate where you have one eye is darkened to adjust to your dark or whatever.
Maybe. Speaking of fashion, Alira's hair, the woman with hair like that, is just so good. It's phenomenal.
It's amazing. I love how it just sticks out like that. My fave would be the one bearded person in this world.
Yeah, he would be strong.
The old guy.
No, okay, the second bearded person as well.
Rigio.
Arugio.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Arugio, yeah. To me, he's just very kind of, you can see his protective side coming through. And I don't know, it's not often, well, because I haven't been reading that much lately, I don't know how it is nowadays, but yeah, whenever I would read any sort of like manga that had, not young, but like relatively younger men in it, I wouldn't see a lot of beards. And I found that kind of like refreshing. I thought the beard was a nice touch.
Is he the guy that lives with Quifrey?
Yeah.
Yeah,
In
the
Atelier.
tsundere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
because
God.
he's a massive tsundere. Speaking of tsunderes, I thought that Ageta, Agiti, I'm terrible at these names. Ageta, let's go with. I thought she'd be a tsundere, but it seems like she's a bit more like a main character.
Yeah, she's like really driven for being the best witch.
Yeah. What did you think of her compared to, for example, some of the other apprentices? So the apprentices being, we've got Coco, we've got Agete, who's the one with the dark hair.
Yeah.
We've got
Tetia.
Tatia, the fun one with the twin tails.
And Richie.
Yes. Did you have a favourite?
I like Tetia just because she makes the cutest spells. I don't know, they're all sort of like really different and really cool by themselves. Like it'll be like harsh to be like, oh, she's my favorite because of this, because they're all like really unique and cool. Like I love how like the story is structured the way that's like give them each like it shines a spotlight on each of them as the story goes on. So it feels like even though it's only 4 volumes that basically told all the characters in all the kind of like motivation and such, like I feel like maybe this is just the beginning. There's probably still a lot more to go because they only introduced all 4 of them.
I feel like we've also seen them all grow and change a little bit. Obviously Coco the most of all, but I feel like if you compare them right at the start to how they are at the end of volume 4, their thinking is a bit different and they've all matured a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be exciting to see how that's continued over time.
Who's your favourite, Jade?
I really like Riche. Like I love how she just creates her own little space in like a pot and just crawls in when she's mad at someone. Because sometimes I wish I could do that, just crawl into a pot. So I found that really cute. I loved the dragon scene in which they were all working together. And although there was tension and conflict in that scene, you could tell that, they were trying their best to kind of work together, but also recognize that there were these tensions, like especially Coco, who was, they kind of realized, so they kind of realized she was an unknowing, and she realized that they realized that she was an unknowing. So it's sort of like, this cool kind of self-awareness, which also feeds into like their maturing over the chapters that we've read as well. So yeah, love it. I actually have I'm changing my favorite character to the brush bug.
Oh yeah. Did you read a bonus chapter from like the brush buddies perspective? I think it was like right after chapter 23. There was like a bonus.
Oh, okay, I'm looking forward to it. Remind
me, what is unknowing?
I think the unknowing are those that know the forbidden magic to some extent, and the unknowing specifically for her is somebody that's kind of knows the forbidden magic but without having learnt normal magic. Having said that, I'm really not sure of that. So
probably come across it but forgot it.
I actually really liked that so the bit where they've got the river has like kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
Or the banks of the river have collapsed and they're trying to rescue somebody. And Coco draws that thing in the rock to turn it into sand. And then suddenly it's like, boom, you've just turned the landscape into sand. And I was like, oh, is she really overpowered again? Are we having another one of these? And then the fact that, what is his name? The mentor, the teacher? Quifrey, yeah. The fact that Quifrey like takes away the jar and then the jar's kind of removed from the plot. And so she goes back to being normal strength. I really enjoyed because it was a good way of kind of showcasing that there is a lot of power, and then linked quite nicely into the next little bit when they talk about mixing stuff into the ink.
Yeah.
But it's nice not having a really overpowered protagonist, and they kind of have to use the magic system to do things. Speaking of, what did you, I guess, Jade, think of the magic system?
I thought it was different from a lot of the other kind of magic the conventional type of magic that we see in a lot of media and other things. For example, if you compare Witch Hat to Harry Potter in terms of the magic that they use, it is very kind of, different in the way that I love the drawing aspect of it. And I love that, they explain as well what the different parts of the glyph are for, the three parts. And I love that they have like the little notebooks with pre-drawn glyphs. That is so cute. And I sort of wonder, what would life be like if we lived in their world and we had magic at our disposal? Well, if we were witches, say, imagine what life would be like if, we had these tools and we had this knowledge, and we could also create fluffy flower clouds as well.
Yeah, it's in a way like really well thought out. I don't know, just the way it's like applied in real life, like the author, you can tell that they really thought about, okay, so if it's a drawing, like does the size of the drawing matter? Like does the way you like how messy your drawing is if have an effect? Like these little details kind of gives it like a realism that it needs. Like I know it's like, oh, it's fantasy, but like it still makes it like if this existed, it could, it doesn't make sense, like the way the drawing works and stuff.
There is actually a term for that, which is having a hard magic system versus a soft magic system. So your example earlier, Jade, of Harry Potter versus this is a good example of a hard magic system versus a soft one. So a soft one would be something where it's a part of life and it will affect life and stuff, but they don't fully explain it. And there's less messing about with kind of the mechanics of it and more just, you can bust out this spell, this does that, and so on. Whereas a hard magic system will have like its building blocks. And one of the main draws for that, which is also one of the main draws for me in this world, is being able to be creative with these constraints. So just like you were saying with having the size of the glyph and the size of the inner bits changing things, you saw that in her first trial, in Coco's first trial, right? Where they teach you these basic rules and it's like, hey, what happens if you extend this one glyph loads? What happens if you extend this one glyph loads? That happens, right? What happens if you use lots of little runes inside? You get something that refreshes if you use the refresh runes, right? And that's, for me, actually been the most interesting bit of the whole series, which is why I'm talking about it so much, is how they're being creative with the magic.
Yeah, I totally agree. Also, can we just take a minute to just appreciate Tata? What a sweetheart. An absolute sweetheart, because I just love how he, is very kind of cautious around the Atelier people at first, but then, when he's trying to get the healing stuff for Coco, that just made my heart melt. Tata's amazing.
Cute. Yeah, I like that they included like kind of like colorblindness into it, like kind of telescope. Yeah, I like the inclusivity, like kind of like talks about how this boy who just wants to be a witch but can never be accepted. I hope like his story get expanded more in the future. I like to see him coming back.
Same here. I think all of the characters they've introduced so far that have had a bit from their perspective should hopefully get more page time, as it were.
There's one thing I really want to talk about. What do you guys think of Krithri? Like what is he up to? I know maybe Jade knows more than us because she's ahead, but up to chapter 4, after the incidents with the second test.
Do I need to deafen myself for spoilers here?
No. We're on the same page.
Okay.
Not as much as you, but like, what do people think? Like, do you think he's a good guy, or do you think he's a bad guy, or he's somewhere in between? Because like I have suspicions about this boy, even though like I love his character design.
I don't trust him.
Is that
straight up?
Experience, or
I just don't vibe with the guy. I think as much as he kind of leaps in to defend his students and stuff like that, you sort of, he did say himself, like, I'll lose my only lead. And that kind of makes you think, like, is this kind of a conditional kind of love between him and his and especially Coco, because the only reason he's kind of keeping her in the atelier is because she's a link to the broom hats. So if she wasn't, then he would be like, no. Although maybe her love of magic will get her in. But yeah, I just don't trust him. What about you, Oliver?
Well, I noticed at some point he mentioned betrayal. I think he was betrayed. I'm going to call it. He's going to betray them at some point, like big time. I don't think it'll be for quite a while. Like, I'm going to eyeball volume 11.
I had the same number in mind.
Yeah, see, that's just long enough for them to like get some independence. He seems like he's been betrayed by somebody that's joined like the brim hats or something, and is like single-minded on catching them and like, I don't know, maybe vengeance or something. I do think he genuinely cares about his students. You know, the fact that he had some before he knew about that, and the fact that they're all like pretty happy and he's actually actively like defending them bodes well. And I reckon that will be kind of his character arc, is him like learning to kind of deal with how he was betrayed and maybe growing from that. But yeah, I think he's going to betray them at some point.
Yeah.
I also think that Agatha at some point is going to have like... Actually, no, maybe not. Because she had her moment where it was like, she was super focused on one thing, right, nearly to the detriment of others. And then Coco was like, why are you a witch? What are you here for if you're not here to help people? And that kind of snapped her out of it.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we'll see that again from her on a larger scale?
Maybe she'll have different moments in the future, different.
I just feel like because she's such a complex character, there is just like so many sides to this. I feel like she's going to be a real ally to Coco in the future, and whatever their endeavors are, I think they'll eventually, the four of them will still remain a team throughout all of this. Could be that one of them is just like, see you guys, I'm out. But
that's going to be her, isn't it? She's the Sasuke.
Maybe, but maybe she's like the kind of person who is that kind of loyal type.
Yeah.
Do you think that there will be any character deaths?
I'm not surprised if there's gonna be, but I wouldn't say it would be any of the main characters just yet. I feel like even if it's gonna happen, it still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I reckon there will be. It kind of remains to be seen how they're going to treat death when the stakes rise. Because if they're keeping it kind of cutesy, which at some points it's hella cute, if they keep it like that, it's possible they might have like a side character that gets kind of introduced, built up a bit, and then killed off as like a tool for the main characters to act. If they decide to ramp it up, however, which will definitely make it less cute at that point, but more serious, I reckon it would be one of the... Oh, that's a tough one. Maybe Quifri's mate, the guy with the beard. I can't remember his name.
Urugio? Don't do this to me, Oliver.
Yeah, him, or the witch, the one, the one of the four that's like, I'm going to be my own witch.
Richie.
That one. Yeah, hopefully not, because I love her. She's great. I'm going to go back to something less sickeningly cute.
But I feel like this manga, it's capable of going dark. I mean, the way like the first chapter is set up is
exactly.
And suddenly, bam, your mum is a statue now. You ruined everything.
Yeah. And I think the art would go really well with that. It's really good for both the serious moments and the cute moments. The way, for me, it's the way they draw mouths. In those cute moments, they've always got that like the cloud mouth or whatever you want to call it. I love it. Did you have a favourite moment up until the end of Volume 4? If it's the end of Volume 4, you can say that, but don't tell me what happens.
Maybe it's because it's fresh on my mind. I was rereading like Volume 2. I just remember really enjoying how they figure out how to like tame the dragon, in a sense. Mitigate the situation, whatever the phrase is, or coming up, contributing in some way. Just them working together, it's quite cute. And the bit where with the boy Tata trying to figure out which like medicine to use and stuff, like his story arc, really interesting. So those are the two, like, judging by the fact that it's like still in my mind. So now, like, they're very memorable.
How about you, Jade?
It would have to be when Coco passes her first test at the Dedda Mountains, because it's right after a moment when her whole life has just been turned upside down. She's lost her mother, she's in some kind of like a new place, getting used to new people, meeting loads of new people, and it's quite an abrupt change of life for her. And the fact that she, she really thinks outside the box a lot. She's using her own skill to propel her towards taking the flower. And especially as it's very sudden, she just got there and she's just taking the test already. No one ever gave her an explanation on how to use the saw boots, and she passed that test so well. I'm so proud of her for being able to just step up and go, you know what, it's no use just crying here about it. I'm gonna try my best and use my skills in my own way to do magic to pass this test. To have such bravery and determination at what, like 12? How old are these?
No,
How
I
old
have
are
no
these?
idea how old they are.
12.
Everyone is 12 in this universe. Plot
Yeah.
twist. Professor Quithry is 12.
Maybe 15, but no.
I think 12, because then the guy that, in they're doing the Viper Temple bit,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
the guy there who's failed it twice, that would kind of make sense that he's like 14, 15.
What did you guys think of him, Uni?
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I liked him. I'm like right in the middle of him doing his thing at the moment. So we're like right where I'm at. Oh my god, names. Agatha's just been grabbed by the brim hat, and that's where I'm at right now, which I'm gonna continue on after this. So we've seen what's his face do the bit where he makes it all go dark, which I thought was cool,
Yeah.
and it was kind of nice seeing his little bit of progression there. It'll be interesting to see if he goes any further, or if that's kind of he gains his confidence and then just kind of moves on. Maybe comes back later. Oh man, I wish there were like 50 volumes so that I could see where this goes.
I like that all the characters sort of like have their own like issues, like flaws that they have to work on. And maybe saying it like that, it seems like too structured. It's like, oh, every new side character that comes along has a problem and that's the story, how to fix the problem. But it just, I don't know, it just fits in quite well. I feel like it's told, it's somehow like everyone who's reading this manga can somehow relate to one traits for the other. I'm like, oh yeah, I had that moment of like being nervous and when someone's watching me do a particular thing.
I totally agree with you. It's very reflective of real life and the way people are in real life. Everyone has stuff they can't do. Everyone has blips in their life, and I think Witch Hat Atelier does a good job in reflecting that. Which
of the characters would you most want to be?
One of the adults. Know how to use magic, and plus like Quithry's freaking turtleneck, I'm like, yo, that's my jacket. It looks so good. I was like, I want to be like that. What about you guys?
I mean, definitely Tetia for me. I love that, like the positivity, the goal to have the twin tail hat. Yes, mate, that's where it's at. Sadly, hair too short nowadays. But there we are.
Hey, you're growing it out.
Yeah, there's one thing lockdown is good for.
I would be gravitating towards wanting to be forget her name. Cool head lady.
Yes, she's called
Alera. Yeah, I would want to be Alera because of the hair, and also she just has a really kind face. I love people with kind faces.
Going back on Quithry, do you guys have a theory of why he's not, I don't know, like, because there was like a conversation between him and Alleria, what's her name? Yeah, the lady that Jade wants to be, that he specifically wanted to live outside of the main, I guess, witch inhabited area. And specifically like have apprentices rather than getting them into like your standard witch school.
Was that not just because he is interested in the forbidden magic and you can't do that if you're near the city?
Yeah, I mean, did they outright say that? But it's just like...
Well, they made it seem like if you're in one of the ateliers further out, there's a lot less, I guess, government involvement would be the term, which is why they've got, I've forgotten his name again, the guy that lives with Quithry. Arugi, yeah. It's why he's there as like the watcher. But if you're friends with the watcher and you could be like, just let this one slide, please, then you could see some forbidden magic. Do you think there's another reason?
I theorize that it's probably to do with that, or maybe there's a bigger plan. Who knows? I have a feeling that he's going to do something very bad. he's going to get into the Brim Hat stuff too deep, and he'll need Coco and others to save him.
I agree. Maybe he'll betray them, but they'll forgive him, and that's when they save him.
I'm not sure if I agree with you that he's going to betray them. He's going to think what he's doing is for the greater good. Because obviously, if you really want to like do things by the books, he would have went on to the Knights, right? If he really just wants to catch the Brim Hats, right? You want to get as much help as possible. I feel like he has other agenda, like you mentioned, like revenge, or like maybe he knows someone from Brim Hats, like he.
You mentioned the greater good. Is that not kind of what the Brim Hats are going for? Because from what I can gather, it seems like they were originally the healers. So,
are you suspecting you or part of the Brim Hats?
Well, no, I feel like they're doing stuff for what they think is the greater good. Just they're a question of, do the means justify the ends? Whereas the current witches in power obviously aren't specifically the good guys. You saw when they nearly just wiped Coco's memory after the sand incident. And I reckon it will come down to the question of, do you go with freedom that's kind of dangerous, that gives people that freedom? Or do you have a slightly overly restrictive system that keeps people safe? What do you value more? I don't know whether or not we'll get an answer, but we'll find out.
Oh, well.
Do you have any theories on the Brim Hats?
I just know there's probably going to be a boss battle soon. Not soon, but like the end, like the last arc or whatever of the Brim Hats.
Yeah. Jade, do you have any thoughts on the Brim Hats?
I find the one with an eye quite cool looking.
He's awesome. Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree.
Love that Brim Hat. And I think there's going to be a huge battle because eventually the Magic Security Council, I can't remember if that was what they're called, but eventually they're going to realise, I mean, they've already realised that the Brim Hats are still at large, but I think they're really going to kind of clash really quite soon.
I've been really enjoying it so far. I think if you read chapter 1 and you should in theory be hooked immediately on chapter 1. That gives a pretty good sense, I think, of what the rest of it's like in terms of cuteness versus seriousness and the art style in general. I've been really enjoying it, and I'm going to proceed to enjoy it and read as much more as I can straight after this, which will be good. Art, obviously, gorgeous. Characters, interesting. It'll be good to see where it goes.
My closing thoughts on this are I love the artwork. I mean, even if the story was just a load of shite, like I would actually continue reading because of the art. I think it's so intricate and the facial expressions can be so delicately drawn such that they convey the emotion really, really well. For example, when someone's upset or really, really happy, I think it's really, really well done. And I think in terms of the world itself, I really love, I've never come across this idea of, drawing magic to something and then having it affect that thing. That was really, really cool. I love that we get to see these girls grow up and we get to see them mature, which I really, really love as well. Initially, I was quite kind of cold toward Witch Hat Atelier, but now, I was hooked. And yeah,
35 chapters.
Yeah,
I can't wait to read more.
Before I give my closing thoughts, do you have any like a preview for us what to expect? Not like spoiler, but like
there's someone I really like, and he sort of sets a fun task. I really, really love this person.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, my thoughts are amazing. Love it. Hooked from the very beginning. But I guess if you're not hooked, give it a few chapters, just like Jay did, because you will come to love all these characters. And yeah, I just feel like I just really want to know how all of these characters end up, because I feel like they all gave me a reason to care about them. They're all adorable, and I just want to protect them. They're all such babies.
Protect that smile.
Yeah, and I hope this series pulls a One Piece and gives us 900 chapters and just keeps going forever, because it's such a huge world. I hope they keep going.
Definitely. Cool.
So that concludes our very first official episode, and next time we will be reviewing
Kageyama-sama wa Kokora Sentai, right?
Love is War. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Love is War.
Yeah. I think the bar to aim for with this is there's a chapter called I Can't Hear the Fireworks. It might be part 2. Chapter 45, which is actually quite a few. They're fairly short. If you want to do it in animated form, the first season of the anime also ends here. You don't have to make it that far, but that will give you a good feeling of what the whole thing is like, and you'll get to see some development.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
See you next time for Love is War.